Let me call Steve, by the way. Let's see if he's available. He said he wanted to call in today. Let's see if we can get his thoughts on the earnings we saw yesterday. But yeah, this is a prime stock for Steve to do a deep dive on. He likes looking at these names. So we'll see if there's any juice to squeeze on UPS here. Nubank right here still up 3.6%, in Google at 201. That's up 2.38%.
Hello.
Steve, good morning. How are you?
What's up, man?
We are live on the market open, and everyone has been waiting to get your reaction on yesterday's earnings.
I mean, I don't know how you can be on the market open when it's not a physical thing.
Anyway, good morning. Did you have your breakfast? You had your 3 bagels with...
Yeah, I actually called you when I was walking to go get my breakfast.
Okay, great. So what's the breakfast order again? Can you say it again? The special every day?
3 eggs, peppers, onions, salt, pepper, ketchup on a wrap.
Okay. I'm going to get that one day. I will get that one day.
I mean, I used to get 4 eggs, but the wrap just didn't close right getting 4, so I cut it down to 3.
Guys, this guy can eat. When we went to get dinner at Ben and Jack's, he had a full steak, and then like 3 hours later he called me. He's like, "Yeah, I feel like getting some Chick-fil-A." I'm like, "Dude, we just had like he can eat. He's a tank."
And I was done with my steak before you guys basically even started.
Oh, you didn't even smile in the picture because you were mad that we took a picture and that stopped you from eating the steak. So
I was eating.
You were eating. I know. I get it. Okay, so I want to start off with earnings. First off, Meta. What was your reaction?
Crushed it. Absolutely amazing.
Do you think Meta deserves to be at $700 right now?
I think it deserves to be higher.
Why?
Like 45% of the globe uses its products. I mean, it's just a huge crush. Haven't even fully monetized stuff. And this is a company that is just still in full-blown growth mode. It's incredible what they're doing.
They said...
And name me the competition.
I agree. It's hard to find the competition. Now, they also said they're going to do CapEx of 60 to 65 billion, and they're going to spend hundreds of billions over the coming years. Do you think they kind of broke down this whole DeepSeek nonsense?
I am not changing my stance on DeepSeek. I think that it's a nothing burger. I think, if anything, it's going to make the arms race even more intense. And there's no way that I believe they did what they did on $6 million. And with all the reports coming out, it seems like my initial thoughts were correct.
Okay, so then last question here on Meta. They said 700 million people use Meta AI. They haven't really monetized WhatsApp. They're continuing to increase their buybacks. What do you think is the bear case? Is there a bear case for Meta? Because people are thinking, hey, at 700, it's run up 6x from the lows.
You know what? With Lena Khan not here anymore, pretty hard to see one.
That's fair.
Meta's not getting broken up. Amazon's not getting broken up, and Alphabet's not getting broken up. And what happens when Zuck does a share split? Think about that. They haven't split shares yet. Wait until that happens, and the stock goes back to like $75 or $100, and you increase the volume on it. Just wait.
No, that is a fair point. Okay, so let's talk about NVIDIA then. They're down 2.7%. Microsoft did say they're not going to be growing their CapEx as much as they did in 2025, even though Zuck said they're going to be spending a lot of money. Is NVIDIA still a buy the dip to you?
Absolutely. And think about what I said to you the other night. That $80 billion, I think, is all of fiscal year 25, not calendar year 25, because they report on a biannual basis. And even if they drop their CapEx in the upcoming fiscal year from 80 to 60 billion, doesn't matter. NVIDIA still can't make as many chips as what the backlogs are. That's the thing. Even if Microsoft decreases their forward year CapEx, NVIDIA still has a massive backlog. So it's fine. Especially, you got to think that Alphabet and Amazon and Meta are going to be buying so much with Microsoft still. Once again, it's a nothing burger. I think all this gets cleared up on the conference call when we see how big of a beat NVIDIA comes in with and how big the revenue and profitability is.
By the way, we're looking at that picture we took at Ben and Jack's with Tanner and Roy. And yeah, as you guys can see, he is not smiling to take this picture. He was upset. But he looks like Clark Kent. He literally looks like Clark Kent. So,
I mean, I was eating.
I get it, but we want to capture a moment for memories.
Who wants to take a picture while they're eating?
I
don't get it.
It's about the memories, Steve. It's about the memories. Okay, so NVIDIA is still a buy the dip to you. So I talk more about that. You said after earnings, you think the street's going to wake up and think this was stupid.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because you think NVIDIA is going to show the earnings growth and the guidance that they were always going to show with no hiccups from DeepSeek.
There's no hiccups whatsoever. Blackwell just started shipping. I mean, you look at a one-year chart, this stock is consolidated off of the last earnings report, and it should have been up off the last earnings report. I mean, this is incredible what's going on. It may even be lower now than it was when they released earnings in Q3. And I think their profitability is going to be crazy. I think they're going to increase buybacks. Certainly going to talk about huge demand going forward. And if this DeepSeek thing taught us anything, it said we have to take AI way more seriously and throw everything we can at it from all angles, because nobody is slowing down. And other countries are trying to copy what we're doing. So this is not a bearish thing. In fact, I may even exit a position or two and buy more NVIDIA this week.
What you're saying is what Zuckerberg said yesterday as well. Zuck said that open source will be the standard and we have to spend more. And Pat Gelsinger also bought Intel yesterday, and he said, you guys are getting it wrong. We have to buy more. So
yeah, this is an opportunity, in my opinion. I mean, $3 trillion market cap. This is a company that is on pace to do $100 billion of profit 2025. I mean, I don't see the bear case right now.
Okay, so let's transition to your favorite stock in the market.
I was so happy when it was red, now it's green, and I'm not happy anymore.
What?
And stock? I have a wall of meetings I'm going into, and I'm not going to be happy.
What, NVIDIA?
No, Tesla.
Oh, Tesla. Oh, well, that's a good transition to your favorite stock in the market.
Yeah, it should be down triple digits right now.
Okay, so to talk to me more about this. Why do you think Tesla does not deserve to be in the 400s?
Look, I'm a shareholder. It doesn't benefit me for Tesla to go down, but I'm also a realist. And when you look at the numbers, this is a stock that has never played by the rules, but the valuation is absolutely insane. If you look at the quarter, this was not a good quarter. Great company, but even great companies have bad quarters. And when you have that much earnings erosion that occurs and the oil business slacks, I mean, think about the amount of growth in energy and storage, and that couldn't even prop this up. They continue to issue shares and dilute shareholders, which they've always done, and nobody seems to care about it. They're now generating less profit, and there is no clear-cut picture that anything that Musk says is actually going to happen and impact top and bottom line this year. I mean, okay, great. Full self-driving in Austin at some point this year. Okay, great. Show me how you monetize this. Because once again, I was talking to Chris and Matt last night on Cash Flow Chronicles, and a Tesla employee, I mean, they say he's a Tesla employee, I don't know the guy, said that this is going to be, ride hail is going to be $1 trillion freaking revenue thing. I'm like, no, it's not. The taxi cab industry isn't even a $300 billion market right now. It's only expected to get to $430 billion in 2029. Show me how you're going to generate $1 trillion in revenue year over year from ride hailing when the taxi cab market isn't even expected to be half of that. I mean, you're telling me, and this has been my fundamental problem with the whole FSD thing. With ride hailing, Tesla would have to get the entire ride hailing market globally. Then convince people not to buy cars and just use it to double the growth rate over the next 5 years to get to $1 trillion of revenue. It doesn't make sense.
So why do you think Elon is saying that FSD justifies massive?
It's his job to do that. Elon, what did I tell you? The only way Tesla goes up, if earnings come in the way that I think they're going to come in, which they did come in, how I said they were going to come in, was for him to talk his book and pump this up in massive enthusiasm. And this is coming from somebody who believes Tesla's going to be the most valuable company in the world in the future because of robots. But we're very far away from that picture.
Okay, hold on. So let's talk about that. I mean, he did say they would grow robots 500% over the next couple of years. Do you think
I think they will, but they're starting at zero, so it's not hard to grow robots 500%.
Okay, but do you think there's not any multiple? I mean, you bought this stock because of robots.
Right, but I bought it under 200.
So
all I'm saying is you can pay way too much for a company. And really think about this. Tesla's valuation is, 1.3 trillion right now or something like that. They did just under $8 billion of net income, okay? If they 10x their net income, theoretically at the same margin, they have to 10x their revenue.
Right.
What is the street going to give them as a multiple on that? They're going to say it's a $10 trillion company? Well, guess what? Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet all at one point or another have exceeded 70 billion in revenue. I'm sorry, 70 billion in net income. So none of them have ever traded for more than $4 trillion. None of them have even traded more than $3.8 trillion. So at some point, people have to be realistic about this valuation. I'm not saying that Tesla can't have these phenomenal growth rates. I'm not saying that they can't get to 500 billion in revenue and 80 billion in profits. In the future, they can, but that's already been accomplished. Amazon is on its way to do 700 billion this year in profit. In revenue. And you've had companies that have consistently done 90 billion plus in profit.
Okay, so hold on. We got. Let me do a little bit of pushback here. So someone says in the chat, comparing the current size of the market of ride hailing and the autonomous future is like comparing smartphone market size with regular phone market size.
That's because people actually think people are going to get rid of cars to call a freaking Tesla. You had that already with Uber. People aren't getting rid of cars to call an Uber. People are using Ubers when they don't want to drive because they've been drinking or when they're in the city for work during the day. Not getting rid of cars. Go to any train station. Like I actually live, and you know where I live, in one of the most heavily dense place. I drive past a ton of train stations. Every parking lot's packed. Nobody is getting Ubers from the train station home. People are driving their cars.
Well, I think if FSD robotaxis can reduce the cost per mile, because they get rid of the driver.
Okay. And I'm glad you said that because I was going to say that. That plays into my case. FSD reduces the cost per mile. Guess what happens? Your overall revenue for the market shrinks. So now that 430 billion they're estimating the ride-hailing market to be, the taxi cab market to be, if it's all ride-hailing, it's probably only 350 or 300.
Yeah, but what if they expand? What if they expand the market? Like, what if more volumes drive the expansion of the TAM in and of itself?
Look, anything's possible, but you already have a growth rate from marketing companies about how big the taxi market's going to be. You have to see how this story plays out. But basically, they're betting and investors are hoping that people get rid of their cars and just use ride-hailing. There's no difference between that and Uber except a person driving. That's the only difference. You can order an Uber.
Well, that's a big difference, though.
1 minute.
That's a pretty big difference. That matters.
It's not a big difference.
Not
a big difference at all.
If it's more safer, yeah, that becomes a big difference. And if you don't believe it's more safer, you might just not believe in FSD, which is fine.
I'm not saying that it's not going to be safer. I'm just saying that I don't think people really look. Once again, I have a different point of view because I see the amount of people getting in yellow cabs and Ubers all day long. I can look out my window of my office and look at it all day long. Nobody is worried about safety getting into a cab or an Uber. Got news for you. You know this.
All right, so you don't believe in FSD yet. You don't really think the robotic story.
I'm not saying I don't believe in FSD or that it's not going to be real. I don't believe in the revenue it's going to generate in ride-hailing. I think everybody who owns a Tesla is going to consider upgrading to it. And when you have full FSD and it really works, and I can get an insurance policy for it, I'll happily buy a Tesla and let it drive me around. But I'm not letting my Tesla go pick random people up and drive them around, one. And two, I'm not getting a ride-hailing service. I'm still going to drive.
I mean, look, you might not want to do that, but if other people are happy making money off their car, like I don't think that's something that's bearish.
Right, and that's fine. And people may do that. People may buy 10 Teslas and do that. But there needs to be a need for those actual rides to actually generate the revenue. And right now, they're talking about numbers that are more than double the current revenue of the entire global taxi industry. The robotics play is a much better argument for multiple expansion than ride hailing.
So you think eventually the street wakes up and this stock collapses, or how do you think?
I don't think, listen, I don't think it ever goes down, to be very honest with you. I think that if this quarter couldn't take it down, I don't think anything takes it down at this point. I think everybody is drinking the hopium at this point.
No, but that's a hell of a point. If this quarter, if not growing or losing 8% year over year in terms of annual growth.
This is a growth company that doesn't freaking grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about that.
But if that can't take it down, that
Nothing's
means
taking it down.
That means the potential is what people are betting on, which is
forget about the potential. This ain't nobody. People are freaking buying this today at 170 times earnings. They're crazy.
Well, to be fair though, a little bit of pushback here. Amazon traded at 150 times earnings for a decade before they became Amazon. So, like, it's not like we haven't seen this story play out before, where people buy it expensive and then it ends up being a good story, right?
The difference with Amazon, Amazon told everybody every year until probably 2017 or so that they're not focused on profitability. They're focused on building everything out, and they provided exactly what was going to happen.
I think Elon's giving us a vision too. I don't think Elon's sidestepping the longer term vision. He's telling people what he's going to do. Maybe he's not giving all the numbers that Amazon did.
Services and e-commerce is much different than FSD and robotics.
No, it is much different. The margins on e-commerce are shit compared to the margins on FSD.
There are way less what ifs.
Oh, there's tons of less what ifs, but the exponential growth of e-commerce is not the exponential growth of humanoid robotics.
Humanoid robotics is going to be the biggest thing in our lifetime.
Okay,
I'm convinced of that.
But I'm saying
you don't have to sell me on that. I'm convinced on that.
So if Elon is providing a foundation for the next decade of what that looks like, why is that not similar to Amazon in 2010?
Right now, we don't know what the manufacturing capacity is going to be. There are so many things we don't know about it. There are too many unknowns. What I'm saying is today, based on the numbers, Tesla's grossly overvalued compared to other companies that have much better growth rates. NVIDIA has a much higher growth rate and trades at a fraction of Tesla. All I'm saying is for people not to get worried right now, and people still buying this at this valuation is crazy tonight, considering where you can buy NVIDIA at today. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. Let's end it off with Microsoft. So Microsoft did $25 billion in net income. They're down 5%. What do you think the street doesn't like?
People are shook. People are like, oh my God, you're slowed a little bit. Got news for everybody. Look at the bottom line. This is a phenomenal company. And I don't think people realize how important their cloud services and their office products actually are. Everybody uses it. It is ingrained in business. And this is a company that is just going to keep doing wonders.
Well, so here's my thing. And I was talking to you about this last night. Do you think Microsoft can get to $15, $20 trillion one day?
I mean, one day, probably.
But see, but even the hesitation in your voice, that is why people are buying Tesla.
Those are such big numbers, though. And we're not even at a $5 trillion company. And what has to happen with GDP and everything else to get those numbers? If we get a market that goes that high, okay, and this could be 30, 40 years in the future. If we get a market that goes that high, I think Microsoft will be one of the companies that goes that high. But I don't think this isn't going to happen in the next decade. No way.
But Steve, hold on. This is my point. If people don't see the $10 trillion vision for Microsoft, which quite frankly, I don't know how the hell they get to 10 trillion. I would love to hear the argument, but they can see, even if it's not real right now, the $10 or $15 trillion vision for Tesla because they can understand the TAMs of emerging sectors. Isn't that kind of a narrative-driven reason to buy Tesla over Microsoft?
If you are buying Tesla for 10 or 15 years and you really don't care about this price, all power to you, because most likely it'll be higher. All I'm saying is right now, Tesla should have sold off this print. That's all I'm saying. Is that it should have sold off of this print. And that doesn't benefit me to say that.
Yeah.
But over the long term, and I've never changed my stance on that I think Tesla's going to be the most valuable company 10, 20 years from now. But right now, this was not a good quarter. People are trying to justify it. People are coming up with this hopium stuff that they're drinking to try to sell a narrative around something that's not even happening right now to justify the quarter that was just reported. You know, sometimes retracements need to happen off of bad numbers. And this is something that should happen. Microsoft retraced off of incredible numbers, yet Tesla goes off a horrible quarter. Come on. It's ridiculous.
I think
that makes me even wonder about who the hell is buying this right now.
No, I think that proves that narratives are driving the big tech names a little bit more than earnings.
Dude, they definitely are. Look at Palantir.
Well, Palantir's not big tech yet, but
it's big tech.
I mean, if it keeps going the way it's going, it's going to be big tech pretty soon.
I mean, you know, Palantir's numbers don't justify it. I mean, there's a few companies that are ridiculous. Tesla's valuation's insane.
So Karp's going to be on CNBC in 20 minutes. What do you think he's going to talk about today?
He's probably going to be like, you know, feet on the table, sitting back, smoking a cigar, saying, I told you it's about what you build on LLMs. This is his victory moment. Everybody thinks I was clowning everybody. Listen, Palantir could go to 120 to 150.
See, the fact that you're laughing means you were clowning, bro. You're not serious.
No, they could go to 120, 150 after earnings at this point.
Dude, but he is going to take a victory lap on this whole LLM commoditized.
100% he's taking a victory lap. 100%. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
And he's got every right to, because he's been saying this for a while.
So, okay, how do you interpret going on CNBC 2 days before earnings? Bullish or bearish?
Oh, they're reporting on freaking Monday?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Do you think it's damage control, or do you think it's hyping it up for a good earnings? Like, how do you...
I don't know. I'm sure he'll be on CNBC a lot on Monday and Tuesday.
I don't know. I think it's, in general, they're pretty confident, and that's why they're doing it, but there could be another perspective too, you know?
I don't know. We got to see what he says, but it's probably going to be around. I think they're trying to get a bunch of people to talk about this whole China thing.
Yes, that's another angle. Yeah.
Because this is the narrative right now. So they want people, and look, there's certain people you want discussing it. Karp's the top 5 person you want discussing this because he understands this realm better than anybody.
Okay, let me ask you about another stock, which I don't know if you saw it fall 20% today.
I haven't looked at anything really, so I don't know.
Okay, so UPS is down 16.8%.
Yeah, that's something I've been looking at off and on. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it's very interesting. I gotta look into it. It looks like, I don't know.
So, well, the reason why, I just want to give you the headline and I want to get your raw reaction. They said that they're probably losing a ton of business from Amazon, which is their biggest partner. I think 50% they guided of losing packages from them. Is that an opportunity, or is that like oh my God, Amazon's eating everyone's lunch?
No, it may not be. I mean, how many times, if you order products, okay, how many times do you use Amazon Prime versus going to a department store or somewhere else that ships via FedEx or UPS? I would say half the packages that come to my household are from Amazon.
Yeah.
If not more. Think about it. Unless it's a very specific thing that you need, I would argue that most people's first thought is go to Amazon. Because you know what? I'll pay $1 more, $2 more to have it same or next day.
So that's just undercutting UPS's bottom line, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a problem for FedEx also. I mean, and when I walk through the city, I definitely see more Amazon trucks than anything else.
Yeah.
So I'd want to look into it more, but Amazon is the best logistical network behind the DoD, and that's never going to change. You can't replicate what Amazon did. It's just, they have poured so much money into it, and they did it for a reason. And you got a lot of people using Amazon because of convenience.
Okay, last question, Steve. Apple is today. What do you expect after the bell?
Oh, Apple's today?
Yeah.
What time?
I mean, 4:20-ish, around about.
You know what? I'm going to go get an apple, and I'm going to eat it as they report. In fact, I think I have one with that. Did I even bring one? Hold on.
You have an apple in your lunchbox, Steve?
Hold on. I'm going to take a picture for you. Where's my phone?
Did your mom pack some Lunchables for you as well? Did she?
No, those are disgusting. What are you talking about?
No, Lunchables are not disgusting. Lunchables are good.
They're so bad for you.
Dude, they're bad for you, but they're good.
Hold on.
Robinhood, by the way, folks, 53.15, 52-week high on hoodie. They got upgraded by KeyBank to 57 today. So that's another thing that's pushing them up.
Look at your phone.
You send me a picture of an apple. Yeah, wow, you have an apple. That's great.
I'm going to eat that when earnings come out.
Okay, so do you think it's going to go? I didn't ask you about eating the apple. Do you think it's going to go up or down? That's my question.
Yeah, I think it's going to I think it's going to do well.
What if the apple, how long has that apple been in your lunchbox?
Since this morning.
Because if it's been a couple of days, it could be a little bit of a rotten apple when you eat it. And these earnings might be a little rotten as well.
I go to the farm every week to get my apples.
I don't know about Apple. My thing is, I do agree they can pump because they already fell from 260. So how much worse do they fall, right?
Unless the market's going to, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not buying this. We're going to find out today, but I'm not buying that people weren't buying Apple products during the holiday season, that they weren't using Apple services, that Apple wasn't buying back shares. Apple buys back more than $1 billion worth of shares a week. Think about that.
I mean, again, I don't think that's the bull thesis, but I
buy back more shares a week than some companies making a quarter in profit.
Yeah. Look, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong.
The idea of business is to make money. Okay, Apple does it hand over fist, and it's the greatest shareholder company because they continuously reward shareholders with buybacks. All there is to it. They don't need to grow revenue, although it would be nice if they actually started growing revenue again to increase EPS, because they continue to take $80 to $100 billion of shares off the table every year. It's incredible.
All right.
Each share just ends up producing more EPS. It's no better company than Apple at this point.
All right. Well, we'll be covering Apple after the bell. We'll see what.
So we'll see. But I may exit my fucking Square position at this point, even though I want to hold them in the earnings. There may be a bigger opportunity in Nvidia than holding Square at this point.
Unless Bitcoin goes to the moon, I agree. I think Nvidia might be a little.
I think Square is very undervalued, but you know what? I wouldn't be heartbroken swapping that position out for more Nvidia at this point.
I don't think that's crazy.
So I will give you a call later, and we can discuss some Apple later.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Steve. We'll talk to you later.
All right,
Later. All right. So, Steve, that is his thoughts on earnings. Again, Apple after the bell. That's going to be an important one. Wow, Hood not stopping. 53.18. So we got an upgrade from KeyBank. I didn't even know these guys covered Hood. I guess I missed their coverage a while ago. But they went from 50 to 57, and they said survey results lean positive for Robinhood as we observed several notable data points across new product initiatives, a step up in gold subscriber intent. Respondents were interested in futures trading, continues to surprise an uptick in our current survey. Finally, an appetite to take investment advisory services is both a validation of strategic direction, especially in their trade PMR acquisition they did, and a signal that supports the continual addition of longer duration assets. In the spirit of balanced commentary, retirement account opening intent modestly downticked as the weighted average fee describing respondent willingness to pay for advisory services is yield dilutive. So overall, they've seen a lot more potential in the surveys they've done for consumers to adopt Robinhood's new product initiatives, and that's why they upgraded the stock. There you go. 53.20 on hoodie. Absolutely incredible day, up 4% right here. Pouncer as well, 80.69. Reddit's down a little bit. Rocket Lab giving back all of its 5% gains back to 28.67. So really oscillating now between 28 and 30. That's where it's going back and forth. SoFi at 16.43. Broadcom up 6%. NVIDIA continues to get hit. It needs to hold 120. It's not really been doing a good job at that. We'll see throughout the day if it can hold there, but 119.9, it's not going back to the 117s, at least not yet. We're not seeing that, but it is holding the It is at least oscillating between 118, 120. Even if it's not back to that 125, 127 level. It's kind of funny because after the initial collapse, it got back to 127 2 times. And then both times it just got hit right back to 119, 120. And so maybe forming a little bit more of a base at those 2 levels as well. Is Rocket Lab consolidating for a breakout? Maybe. I think Rocket Lab already broke out though. Not even over the past year, given it's up 600%, but over the past 2 weeks, given it's up 35%. So I think this is more so just healthy price action. I mean, Rocket Lab going to $40 right now probably would be excessive given there's no real catalyst, but Rocket Lab holding these levels and beginning to normalize this range is good because maybe it never has to see the low 20s again. Baba as well, dude. Shout out to China. Baba getting some love. The Quen 2.5 model beat DeepSeek on a lot of different benchmarks, and it looks like the market's taking Alibaba more seriously as a AI cloud computing provider, up 4.39% on the day. FXI is the China large cap ETF. That's up 2% today as well. So not bad at all. Okay, what else? What other headlines do we got going on? So we got Carp in 10 minutes. Kash Patel is going to be confirmed today. Is he being confirmed right now? He is being confirmed right now, I think. Tulsi Gabbard is also being confirmed today. So let's go to that for like a couple minutes. Let's just see what's happening there, and then we'll go back to some other market stuff as well. I'm Beneficial. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Congrats to my Hood rats. Congrats to everyone who's in Hood. Incredible execution, and they're putting up the growth to be able to justify continuing to get this momentum. All right, here's a little bit from Kash Patel right now.
With people who have proven themselves willing to do violence on Trump's call. In only 10 days, some are already back committing crimes. We've also tried as a committee together to address the dangers of illicit drug sales over the internet.
Okay, I don't want to listen to this, dude. This is it's all going to be political, bro. We're not going to get any economy stuff. Nothing. I forgot. Kash Patel is not in an economic role. It's all going to be freaking January 6th and this and that and, you know, his conspiracy theories from the podcast he's been on. Like, it's just going to be a mess. So honestly, I'd rather not even go. There's nothing valuable we're going to get from that. There's maybe some entertainment. We'll get some good clips later, but there's not going to be anything crazy.